Rustomjee Group, the leading developer in Mumbai, is a name that stands robust and prominent in the real estate industry with its premium residential and commercial spaces. Today, we have the driving force behind the legacy of the Rustomjee Group, the man who needs no introduction in the real estate industry, the chairman and the managing director of the Rustomjee Group, Mr. Boman Rustom Irani. Thank you, Mr. Boman, for joining us today on Let's Talk Business series by RealtyNXT.
Thank you, Kritika. Thank you for having me over.
So I want to know from you in the start is, every developer's dream is your journey. So what are the key 3 things that you believe you did differently in comparison to others? Because when it comes to your name and your brand name, it's a household name when someone talks about real estate in MMR.
My God, all those compliments. Thank you very, very much, Kritika. I think it's not about doing things differently. It's about doing things right. The way we look at real estate as a business, it's actually such a simple business on the surface, isn't it? People come to you for a home. They're expecting only what has been assured to them or what has been promised. And going further from there, all they want is timely delivery at the price that you've kind of, inform them about, with the quality that you have assured them or given them a view on. From the start, we at Rustomjee believe that you should try and wow the customer at all points of time. Give him more than what has been promised. Give him or her more than what has been promised. If it's possible, try and delight a customer, not just satisfy them, but delight them. We have a strong team or a strong principal. Customer is always right, and I think my entire team, I'm blessed to have a great team that kind of looks at it that way. We've tried to stay away from quick fixes. We've tried to focus on long-term growth. You mentioned about our journey being something that most real estate developers would like to follow. I think the one thing that we need to tell everybody is a promise made should be delivered, and if not, then you should quietly pay the price. If it's possible, if you fall, get up, dust it off, and keep moving on. Simple principles of life. Keep your customer first. Keep your customer delighted. Keep your customer with you. Build every home like it was going to be your home, and do unto others as you'd want them to do unto you. So if nobody likes to be, I would say, shortchanged. And I kind of give this example to most of my people. I tell them, imagine buying. For them, what is the possible? Buying a motorcycle or buying a car. And I say, imagine someone goes out there and he's taking delivery of the car and he goes home and then there's trouble out there, right? I said people buy 5 or 6 cars in their lifetime, but most people buy only one home. So imagine giving a customer a home which is not as per his requirement or his delight, or something that does not function properly. So every time we've had a problem, we've stood up, we've stood tall, I would say, and taken it on the chin and said, listen, let's resolve it for you. I think that is the secret to our long-term or continued growth and success. We've faced a lot of downhills also along the way. You know that the real estate industry has been having its own share of storms, especially in the last 10 to 12 years, I can say, with the global financial crisis, then the Mumbai DCR going in for an abrupt change in 2012. After that, GST, RERA, demonetization. It's important to keep perspective at times like this. You might lose money, but as long as you stay on the path of knowing that if you did the right thing, business would by itself grow. And another thing that I've realized is there should be no flash in the pans. There should be no sudden spurts. There should be a continued trajectory of growth. Don't try and make too big an impact up front and then vanish away from the skyline. Much rather you keep building. Our business is built brick by brick, so if you build your reputation also brick by brick, you do very well in the long run.
True. So when we talk about top branded developers, everyone comes from a family background of real estate. But when we talk about Rustomjee, what made you embark upon real estate journey? Because your dad was in a different business, in a different sector.
That's a pretty interesting question, and to give you a short answer, I come from the background where manufacturing was a very big thing, right? And in manufacturing, processes and systems are huge. Now, go back to 1990, 91, when I did have a family asset to sell. I met up with some of the developers of that time, of that era, And what I realized was, while there was a lot of creativity in them, great amount of energy and enthusiasm, what I did notice even at that age, I was about 19, 20, 21, I noticed that there was not enough structure. Everything was I, me, myself. And coming from industry background, coming from an engineering mindset, I realized that a lot more could be done, or I believed a lot more could be done if there were set processes, systems, if there were charts that were made up front. Some developers did have it then. And after we sold that property, I went back to my family and said, look, if I could have a small portion of about 2,000 odd meters, I think I could do this business. And they were kind enough to believe in me, and the rest, as they say, is history. From day one, from our story where we started off chairman to watchman, we were 4 people in the company, to today when we are 650 plus, and doing development across the city and then across the MMR as well, having done everything from standalone structures to gated communities to townships, everything from affordable housing, which we call the under 1 crore, to the mid-mass, which is 1 to 3 crores, going all the way into what's called aspirational segment, which is 3 to 7 crores, and then 7 crores and above we classify as premium, and then 15 crores and above we classify as super premium. And fortunately, Rustomjee has stayed, or has managed to create a niche for itself in all these segments. What we haven't done is, of course, gone out and done a lot of commercial. We built commercial buildings, but more social commercial buildings like schools, hospitals, etc. We've not built that part of our arm. We are working on that as of right now. We haven't gone from city to city. We realize that our strength is local. Residences require an unbelievable amount of ability to know the customer's lifestyle. Yeah. And once you get that right, and you're able to kind of serve the customer what he needs but still doesn't know he wants it till it's given to him or her, you're able to create a wow factor for the people. So we are very research oriented. As a company, Rustomjee has always been one that went back to its customers 3 to 5 years after the buildings were completed, and now we have all these research reports, etc. But I'm talking from 1996. After we completed the buildings, we used to actually go back to the homes of those that had bought our homes and ask them what we did right, what we did wrong, what areas. Let's say we had defined something as a storeroom area and that got converted into a puja room, for instance. I remember that was a early trend at that point of time, and I thought a store is more important in the house, but for people in that community it was more important to have a puja room. We picked it up as a point and put it down in an SOP and said, hey, in the future there'll be a puja nook or a puja room or a puja corner in every house, because that is something that we had not known before that. Like this, we kept building on our knowledge and database, and we keep going back to the books and trying to figure out ways in which Rustomjee can build better homes that we have learned over the years to do. And over here again, a small example I always point out to my people is, you look at the automobile industry, they're always able to change what the customer's requirement is next year, and then give that aspirational bit to the customer and say, hey, if you had this, what do you think? And then that becomes the norm, and then they bring the next big thing in and the next big thing in. Real estate has not been so lucky to be hit by, or to be able to come up with so many innovations. But what we can do is at least take care of these finer things. So today in our homes, even if I'm building a 1-bedroom, we'll build 2 bathrooms in that, because we realize a family of 5 stays there. And morning, between 7 and 9 is the most active time. And if the bathrooms are 2, at least one of the parents and one of the children could kind of make use of the same amount of time. So, you're saving that 15 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes that people are using that area, and give more productivity to them. So while it means an additional 28 square feet, it's 28 square feet of very well spent money. Things like this have been at the core of Rustomjee's philosophy, and we have been fortunate to have reaped the successes on what we've built as our SOPs over time.
14th April 1996 is a very important date in your life, because you created Rustomjee on that date, right?
So 14th April 1996, I can tell you, was the date when we launched our first project. And a little build up to that, I had the good fortune of traveling to Dubai just before that, where a broker was announcing his mega launch. I realized that real estate and glamour are in a way intertwined.
Yeah.
And I had seen a few other developers do their launches, big tents, great lunch, served out there, a little bit of decoration, the right people at the venue. And I remember, again, coming from industry, I had a few friends, so I invited the right people. I said, you should be there. More as an encouragement to me, they came along. We had a beautiful mandap set up out there. And sometimes when I look at those pictures, I really laugh because, you're seeing these young kids with a dream in their eyes or with a vision or with some kind of energy in them and trying to create a mark for themselves in a city that was already bustling with so many developers. And again, Kritika, I don't know if you know, but that was an era in the history of Mumbai and MMR where there were a lot of unneeded elements, let's put it this way, in our business. And my mother was very worried for me, but somewhere deep down, I think it's that feeling or that strength that you get from knowing that you're doing the right things that keep you going. But that was an interesting day, 14th April 1996, and that's why we call it the foundation day of Keystone Realtors, or Rustomjee as we call ourselves as a brand. And we celebrate that day every year, quietly. We're waiting to hit some big landmarks. 25 has gone by in COVID, but let's see, maybe 30 we'll celebrate in a larger way.
Is it true, because I've read somewhere that during the launch, your mother said, I'll only come if you put this brand name as Rustomjee under your father's name?
Educated people aren't very smart. That's what I want to tell you. And I'm not saying my mother was not educated, but if you work with the heart, right?
Yeah.
If you go with emotions, you're more often going to be right than be wrong because your heart already knows, your brain just has to kind of accept it. Yes, it's true. We came up with some fantastic names. Again, educated people. We hired some consultants, worked with certain names which were pretty, according to me, chic sounding at that point of time. And I went to my mother with an entire brochure and said, Mom, this is what we plan to do. This is how we do it, etc. She says, all this is great, but I don't see your father's name. So I said, Mom, that is so passé. I mean, who does that, right? She said, that's fine. You do what you want. I'm not coming for the Bhumi Pujan if my late husband's name is not there. And that was the birth of Rustomjee. I would say probably the best decision that we took for a lot of reasons. At that point of time, and even today, the Parsi brand continues to evoke a lot of trust. Or it inspires you to build to a particular quality because of the great grand history that Parsis have, at least in Mumbai. And secondly, once you put your father's name somewhere, then you're going to be a lot more careful. I don't know if I'd be less careful earlier, but we are a lot more careful, concerned. We can only say that it's a reputation that we will continue building. And I say this quite openly. 26 years being in the business, this year will be 27 in April. Being in the business, we built 280 plus buildings, 20 million square feet, 15,000 homes delivered. But the one thing that we have built, which we are most proud of, is our reputation. And we will keep working on that. So that was also a great memory from back then. Thank you, Kritika, for being here.